Flosstube, I'm Lori and welcome to Once Upon a Stitch. Today is Tuesday, October 1st, 2019, and it's official. I'm a grandma. Yes, Rebecca had the baby. She had Caleb. His name is Caleb Michael, and he was born Thursday, September 19th. I had to think a moment. Here's two little pictures. I promise I won't do this in every video, but that's Caleb, and this is him asleep. Those are the two pictures that they printed out for me recently, and so I get to look at him every day, even though I don't get to see him every day. But anyway, it was, I'll give you a little update. It was nerve-wracking at the time. Rebecca went in Wednesday night. The plan was for her to be induced. And long story short, Caleb's heartbeat dropped. And she was rushed to the OR for emergency C-section. But then his heartbeat came back up, and they put her back in the delivery room. And labor and delivery room, I think they call it nowadays. And then she waited and waited. So she went in at 8:30 Wednesday night. In the morning, Michael was going to give us an update and told us about, the rush to the OR and then coming back to the room, and then things were kind of like moving slowly. So we said we're not going to rush to the hospital and just sit there and then have them worry that we're outside waiting. So we figured we'd wait a while. And then the next thing I hear, they broke her water. So from what I remember, when they broke my water, things moved quicker then. So we rushed to the hospitals. We're getting there. We're walking in the front doors, and who do we meet up with but her parents? So we walked in together, so it was great. We got to the waiting room. We texted Michael, let them know that we were there. He came out, and he walked her mom in to see her. And then a while later, I was able to go in and see Rebecca as well. And she was anxious. Let's put it that way. She was anxious. Things weren't going as she had hoped. She wasn't progressing as nicely as they hoped. So anyway, we're waiting in the waiting room. Her mom and I and stuff, and then we start getting updates that things are progressing, and so we said, okay, in a couple of hours we should have a grandson. The next thing you know, they rushed her to the OR again. The baby's heartbeat fell again, and they did perform the C-section. When Caleb was born, Michael said he was blue and he wasn't breathing, so they had to aspirate the mucus from him and everything, and for 2 minutes, and then they got him breathing and crying, and so it was great news. They put him in the nursery where they measure him and do all these things. They put him under a heat lamp, and we got to stand at the window, the four of us. Michael was on the inside. They were taking care of Rebecca in the back, and we got to watch him for a good half hour, and then they closed the curtains, and it was in the evening at that point, so we decided to go down to the cafeteria and grab a bite. And then Michael was sending us texts. Are you back up in the waiting room? So he says, no, we're downstairs grabbing a bite. A while later, he asked us again. We said, uh-oh, something's up. So we went back upstairs, told him we were. He came out, and Caleb was moved into the natal intensive care unit to monitor his oxygen levels and his breathing, because they weren't where they were supposed to be. Okay, so just moving forward, he was born Thursday. Sunday, he and Rebecca were both released from the hospital, and so we met them at the house. They had to introduce Ozzy. They did it on a mutual ground of in front of the house. Ozzy just kind of sniffed him up a little bit, and then they separated them. So her parents were there, we were there, my son James and his fiance Amy, and Michael and Rebecca, and we had her parents and us. We had prepared lunch for everybody, and then we kind of like left them so that they can mellow out in their own home now. And so I was there yesterday. Michael went back to work. He was home the whole week with Rebecca, and so this was the first day she was going to be on her own. And so I went and spent a couple hours with her, and today her mom's going to go, and we'll play it by ear. So it's all good. It's fabulous. We get to add to our families. I just want to talk 1 second on this piece. I brought this to a retreat, and I'm glad that it's not that visible, but I know a lot of you are going to retreats, and I just want to say, be extra careful in carrying drinks next to the tables. Somebody spilled iced tea on mine, and in person you can see a few spots here, some up here, but it's not showing up really on camera. And the woman came right to me and said that, she did it, apologized, said she would clean it. And at first I was a little upset, but I realized that in life, in the grand scheme of things, that is minor. And I'm not even going to unlace it and try and wash it or dampen it or in any way. I'm going to leave it, and that's my lesson in life of things could be a lot worse. And on that note, let's move on to what we're here about. First of all, for my Jewish friends, Lasha Tova, Happy New Year. We're going to celebrate with Amy's family this afternoon. We went there last year for Rosh Hashanah, and I'm looking forward to it. Okay. The other thing I wanted to say is that I did not receive, I'm going to pause you just for a moment. I'm back. You probably didn't wait long, but what I did was I triple checked one more time, because I gave 5 giveaways in my last video, and 2 people have not reached out to me. So I'm pulling new numbers today. I sent them a message on their original message. I sent a second one that I said if I didn't hear from them by tomorrow, I was picking somebody new. I know a lot of people just say, if I don't hear from you, the next video, that's it. But I always want to give them that second chance, and I haven't heard from them. So we're going to do that first thing. And the first one was a Lizzie Kate November, and November had 34 entries, and the number I have this time is 4. And I'm going to circle, and that is Ronnie Dubinsky. Ronnie, if you will either message me on my Instagram. Let's see, Ronnie, right there. Let's see. Okay, this one is not in it. It's that one, Ronnie Dubinsky. Message me either on my Instagram or my email address, which I'll link below. And the second one was Deck the Halls, which we called Christmas, from Shepherd's Bush. And that was, Christmas had 46. So 1 to 46. Oops. Before I do that, number 4, here's number 4 on the last one, the generated 4. I forgot to show that. I know sometimes people pick it off camera, but since we did the first one on camera, I'll just do it again. Number 22. There's the number 22. And then 22 this time is Lynn Sedlak. Okay, now if I don't hear from these 2 people by my next video, then we'll pick somebody again. But hopefully I will hear from them, get it in the mail to them. I sent out the other ones. One was from Finland. One of the winners was from Finland, so I got that in the mail to her. Okay, so there was one question on my from the last video, and they asked me what was the pattern for the truck behind me, and I think they were referring to this truck. And in the back, it could have looked like a pillow because I had it in here, and they just saw that. But I got this. It's a tin cup, and it's from Hobby Lobby. I keep looking down at the item, but the camera's up there. It's a tin cup, and I got it at Hobby Lobby when they were having a 50% off last year. Alrighty, I didn't have any fully finished objects this time. I had quite a few the last time, but I pulled some things that I thought you might like to see from last year. These are my October finishes. There was a little, this was a Lizzie Kate. It was a pattern of 4. And then this one was the Lizzie Kate October pillow. This was Little House Needleworks October. And I made it into a little wall hanging. These were just wooden leaves that my husband drilled holes in with a Dremel, and I attached it to the piece, and then I glued the top part on. And I did this, I want to say 2 years ago. This is like the second one, two, maybe the 3rd October that I'm displaying this. Then a little quilt. I did a block not realizing how small it was, and I didn't want to do a whole quilt of this because I did it by hand at the time. So I made it into a little doily for the table, a candle holder thing, placement mat. But I put it out around the holidays just as decoration. Then a friend of mine that I originally met from the New Jersey retreat, Helen, she made these adorable sweater pumpkins, and then she made one with some fun fur, and they came out really, really great. And I decided to try one, but I decided to piece some fabric together in a piece of wool. And I'm going to say this is my first pillow, and it's my last pillow. I found some acorns in the park. I put some felt leaves on it. The branch was from the park as well. I kind of burnt it. I held it over like fire for a while to make sure there was no bugs in it. So I waited to see if anything came out of it. That's the wool fabric of it. And just by sewing the seams and not fully stuffing it, it made its own ridges. So I left it at that. I didn't pull any threads through it. Now these acorns, they seem awfully large. And I remember years ago, they used to say, oh, if the acorns are large, it's a good harvest for the squirrels, and they would have, it would be a really bad winter. We'd have a lot of snow. Well, I remember one year that they were huge, and they were in my own yard from a tree we had then, and it was a mild winter. And then somebody would say, if you look at the squirrels and their tails are really bushy, we're going to have a lot of snow again, and it's going to be a cold winter. Well, so far the squirrels' tails, from what I've noticed, are not that bushy. So I'm hoping for another mild winter this year. But you don't know if wives' tails are really the thing to go by or not. People saying we had a mild winter last year, we might have a really snowy one this year. One last thing I'm going to show you was on Instagram, I saw a display somebody had in her house, and for the life of me, I don't remember who it was. And I tried going back, but it was way too far back at that time. But I enlarged the picture because something caught my eye, and I said, oh, those are made with corks from wine bottles. So, and this was on her display table, and they're just corks, hot glued together. And then some of them are from red wine, and they're just stained. And then some I did 2 of them, and they're stained from the wine. And then some of it I just took some orange paint, and then I would add some blue paint to dull it down, some of them, and just painted a couple of them. And I thought that was really cool. So if anybody's interested, it's 4554. And my husband collects corks since I think we moved into this house, so we have a large selection of cork. Okay, one last finish. I made this. It's a tie quilt, and let's see. This is the front. It's folded. That's the front pattern. The back pattern's a plaid. And basically you lay them together, you cut out a 5-inch corner, and then you make 5-inch slits along the side. And this is not really knotted, but just flipped inside out. But there's a ton of tutorials on YouTube. And somebody in my Tuesday library group had made them in the past, and somebody else was making them. So I saw how she did it, and one day I called her up and I said, do you want to go to Joann's? They're having a sale, plus I have a 20% additional off coupon. So we went, and she bought another one that she was going to make, and I bought two. This was one of them. I'll show the other one in another video. And in a couple of hours it was done. I think it's a great project to show my great nieces how to do, Sophia and Ava, and I think they would enjoy doing a throw like that for when they're sitting in front of the TV or in their rooms reading or whatever they choose to do. Anyway, okay, so what have I been stitching on? I had an finished object, FO, and I know a lot of people like this pattern. It's Joy by RETM. That's the picture of it. And this was gifted to me by Allison, one of the sisters from Stitching Social. And here is my finish. Yay! So excited. This took me 21 days. I have a book that I write like what I worked on for the 2 days and what I got accomplished. And on this one, I made a photocopy of this picture. And like I would write day one, and I would point to what I did on day one, and then point, the whole thing. And I was writing it out in words as well, so that I would actually I shouldn't fold that because I just ironed it. I've been looking for a frame for it because I'm going to frame it myself. But so I know it's 21 days, and that's including like some days stitching for 3 hours, 4 hours, and maybe I had a Saturday or Sunday in there that I might have stitched a little bit more. But all in all, it was the 21 days that I worked on that pattern. Then I picked up something I hadn't worked on since October. No, not October. What day did I work on this? October. Oh, since Stitch Mania, because I did a fall Stitch Mania, and I had stitched the October block. And this is the Frosted Pumpkin Once Upon a Time. And it's the Aesop. This is the pattern. It's the Aesop stories. And it's for Stitch Mania, I did October down at the bottom. And this time when I picked it up, I had part of the March block done. Actually one pig in the house, and the little so it's the 3 little pigs, and that's the box that's trying to blow the house down, and March. And then I did the top border and along the side. So for October, I'm going to pick this up again because I don't do dark October stitching, but I want to do some Halloween stitching and fall stitching and anything that could possibly be part of fall. So I will pick this up again in October this month. I also worked on, which I hadn't picked up since July, which was Christmas in July stitching, and that's the Little House Needleworks Winter ABCs. And it's not a great pattern because you can't see the letters. And I changed the letters. They were white, and I decided to do them in cucumber. And I don't know if those that remember, I had the orientation wrong at first, but I left it in. Eventually I'll frog it out because I'll probably do something else on the other side of this piece of fabric. And so the last time you saw it, I did the G up to the G and part of the roof here. So this time I went down, well, you can see where I went this time. And I finished the skates and the mittens. And I don't think I'm going to pick this up in October, but definitely in November. And okay, so then I hadn't worked on this since Mania, and that's Halloween Quaker. And the very first motif, I started up in this corner, and this large motif right here, that took a skein of Classic Colorworks floss. The words will eventually come. So that's how far I've gotten. I didn't finish this first motif when I did it. I did about 2/3 of it in the 2 days, and then I finished this one and went down to that second motif. I have a long way to go on this. This might be like Joy was last year, where I might pick it up every month and hope for a finish by next Halloween. And I will also be stitching this month for Halloween stitching. Okay, I showed you this in my last video, but I picked it up again because on Thursday nights we try to get together with my stitching friends from the retreat, and I need something that's easy to work on. So I picked up Plum Street's Turkey Bay, and I finished the border on this side, and then I finished all this and the acorn. I have to extend the water across, and the turkey goes here, and then all this section. So I will be working on this month as well. And I'm looking forward to working on all these projects and making progress on them. But they're kind of large projects, and I'm going to be working on them for a while. This one I picked up again, and this again I haven't touched since May, and it's the Stony Creek Autumn in the Village, and I started in the center, and that's, I don't know if you can see that, the bakery. And I did some of the outlining, but I have not finished the outlining on this. That's where I've gotten. This was the second go round on this. So the first one I got up to where the word the bakery is going to go in that blue section, baby blue section. So this time I worked on everything below that. And I started outlining the center door, but then I ran out of time for 2 days. So I will be working on this in October and probably November. I mean, I might be doing these in October, November, but in November I'm going to start some other projects and maybe some Christmas stuff. Well, the Christmas stuff that I started, and maybe some other things. There's so much, not enough time. Next I worked on, I think this is the last one, yes, this was up to last night. I took out Rosewood Manor, Huckleberry Sampler, and I started this for Mania, and this is where I've gotten so far. The last time you saw it, I did from A to this motif. This time I did everything under that. So I'm enjoying this. I love the colors. I just think that it's like so delicate, almost like not me. But I'm enjoying it, and I will be stitching on this month as well. Even though it's not really, that was my September sampler piece, because I don't have that many samplers that I could have made a whole month of. But I, like when I can say something that I'm working on that is somebody else is like doing it for the whole month, great. But I'm not going to change my whole stitching to coincide with people are stitching. I love seeing what people are stitching. I watch Flosstube for that very reason, to see what they're stitching on, what I would love to stitch on and save up and purchase. So that's what I look for, and I'm just happy to share with you my progress, and I'm hoping you enjoy it and getting to know me. Okay, so today, October 1st, I'm going to start my October stitching of Halloween and fall, and I'm going to start with the Pass the Stash that Wendy gave me, Autumn Bird. I'm bringing it to the library with me right after this video. I won't be able to upload it because I have to go to the library, meet with my friends, and then come home, run to the bakery, and then we're going to Amy's parents' house for Rosh Hashanah. Just want to change the page so that I don't forget anything. Okay, these are the things that I'm going to be working on all of October. If I haven't stitched on them, for a while on some of them, but I'm going to show them to you really quickly. I'm going to have some new starts, which I'm really excited about, because I love starting new stuff. I just wish I could stitch quicker. Okay, I'll just show you this is basically 3 threads, DMC threads, and they've gotten caught in the pattern. And this is Prairie Schooler, the 3 pigs, and I'm going to do the large one, and I'm going to do it on a 16 count Ada Platinum. Okay, it's a light color. That's my plan. Sometimes I put the fabric in there, and then right before I start working on it, I'll say, let's see if I have something else. But that's the plan for right now. And these are in no order that I'm showing you when I'm going to start. But I am going to start the Long Dog Sampler, the Templar Prophecy, and there's like a little story in the background, very short story, but I'm not going to read it to you, but it says that there's a secret in here as you're stitching it. I probably am not going to get it. I'm hoping that somebody out there who stitches it will get the clues. It says it's definitely a sampler with secrets. The clues are all there. Just read the chart. Yeah, so if anybody knows what the secrets are and want to share, I'll be more than willing to listen, because I don't think I'll get it. The next new start I'm going to do is Autunno, Autumn, by Satsuma Street, and I'm doing that on a 28 count antique white Lugana, because it seems that's pretty, if not white, it's pretty close to off-white ivory. So, yeah, I'm going to start that one. Then, I think I worked on this the last go round here, was the Haunted Mansion. And this is how far I've gotten. So, I should actually do the moon. Start up there. It'd probably take me the whole 2 days to do that moon, if not longer. So that's that one. Then Lizzie Kate, Peril Pumpkins. I started with the Gentleman, and this is where I've gotten some threads and fuzz. So there's fuzz. It was a frogging incident. And that's where I've gotten with him. I'm going to try and come in back to you around the 15th-ish of October. I will give you an update on what I've been stitching and any new news. But then I might not be able to do the next one until a week or two into November. I have a wedding coming up. My son is getting married. I will be doing the Village Sampler this month. And this is how far I've gotten on it since you've seen it. So I'm hoping to make it to the end of the pattern and work down the border so that I have an idea of how wide it's going to be. And that's the pattern again. So I have this other house and a tree and then the downboard. So we'll see how far we get on that. Okay, then I really ran out of like November stuff, but I'm just saying this is kind of like houses, and it could be some part this house existed in the autumn. So I'm going to pick up Indigo Lane by Brenda Gervais. This is the last time you saw it. And this is on a 28 count. Let's see what I have. It's 28 count. It looks like, I don't know. I don't remember. And the paper's not in there, and I forgot to write it down. I know a lot of people ask. But it's a 28 count. I always use a 28 count even weave. So I'm almost finished with the tree, and then I just have to do the gate, the grass on the bottom. So I don't know if I'll finish it in one more rotation, but definitely I should finish it in 2 rotations. And this is, let's see. Yeah, I have not finished Nathan Hale. This is the Early Americans Little House Needleworks. That's the pattern. So you can see I have to finish Nathan, his name, and the other half of the gate and grass. And I think, oh, one more. And that would be Jenny Bean and Friends from Shakespeare's Peddler. That's the pattern. The picture doesn't do it justice. It's a gorgeous piece. And this is where I've gotten since the last time you've seen this. And I'm doing this on a 28 count no, I think it's a cream. That's where I've gotten so far. I hope it's in the frame. I know last time somebody made a comment that I wasn't holding everything in the camera. And I think I was trying to avoid covering Rebecca with, you know, the pattern and the fabric, and so I think that's what happened, and I apologize. I'll try and be more careful in showing my things. I just want to mention a few new Flosstubers that I've been watching. The first one is Married with Stitches, and that's Christian and Derek. They're 2 gentlemen that I enjoy watching. I like to see other people's perspective on what they're stitching, and they're very funny. Actually, Derek made Flosstubes prior by himself, and I used to watch them, and then I think he stopped making them, and now he came back with his husband, and they're doing some amazing pieces, and Christian is not even stitching that long, and wow, really beautiful pieces. The next was ParkhopperBart, and Bart, I would imagine, is his name. He lives down in Florida, and he likes stitching a lot of Disney projects. He and his wife both stitch, but so far he's the only one making the Flosstubes. He's going to try and get her to join him maybe sometime. And the other person is Stacy, and she is 911estitcher, and 911 is spelled out Nineone Stitcher. I will put all these down in the Dropbox if you like to give them a try out. Stacy was a police officer and was injured, and then she became a dispatcher for many years, and I don't believe she's working now. I think she retired, and her husband is about to retire from the police force, and they're planning some amazing trips. And she's going to be visiting some stitching stores that she's going to bring us along to. So I'm looking forward to that. So those are the 3 that I've watched that are new to me. I showed this in my last video, and I was thinking to myself, I think I'm going to do this, the Drawn Thread, the Sunnyside Sampler. It's all these little houses down a street, and I just love it. And I said, oh, maybe this will be like my January 1st start. And then I took it out to like look at it closer, and it's stitched in silks. And it doesn't even have a conversion to DMC. But I think I'm going to give it a try. I think what I'll do is the next time I go to Needleworkers, I'll buy a couple at a time, and so that I don't buy them all at once, and see and try silk. I know I'm going to like it, but I'm not going to do everything in silk. But this piece, for some reason, I am drawn to it, and I want to start it as my January 1st start. And I think I'm going to try it with the silks. They call for dinky dyes and needlepoint ink silk. So I'll see what my LNS has and what he can order for me. And like I said, I'll just do a little bit at a time. I have 3 months that I can spread it across. So that's what I have to show you this month. I hope you enjoyed your visit. I hope you come back. I hope you subscribe. I hope you give me a thumbs up. And until next time, happy stitching.